Christ's death gives real power for believers to change and to grow into the righteousness that he has imputed on us. See, before we have faith in Jesus Christ, we cannot obey God's perfect law. No matter how hard we try, and there are good things that we could do, but ultimately we are fundamentally unable, because we are animosity with our Creator. We cannot obey God before we believe. But once we've been regenerated, once God works in our lives, once the Holy Spirit is moving in us, then he begins to work in us and we can now obey. We're growing into the righteousness that Christ has already imputed to us. I want to give you a picture of what this might look like. Now, any illustration is pressed in the wrong directions. It's not going to work very well, but I want you to think about this, about the righteousness of Christ being put on very sinful believers. My wife does a tremendous job keeping our children in clothing that fits them, and it is not an easy task when there are 5 kids growing quickly and seasons change all the time, so that you're constantly shifting clothes from one drawer to another into bins or baskets in the attic, and then coming back out for other kids. And so this is a full-time job just to keep the right clothes on the right kids in the right season. And one of the things that she does to help in this is to get clothes that are big enough that will last them the whole season, and maybe even a second year, which rarely happens when you have growing kids, but sometimes. So what that means in our house, since it's kind of mid-late fall, nights are now cold, all of our children have very baggy flannel pajamas. Why is that? Because they have to last all the way into like next June, when it's warm out again at night. And so they all have flannel pajamas that are like 2 or 3 sizes too big, because they're going to grow 2 or 3 sizes in the next 4 to 6 months. And so they're folded over here, and they're cuffed up here, and they're off the shoulders here. It doesn't matter because they're flannel and they're nice and cozy. But I think that's a little bit of a picture of the righteousness of Christ that is put on us. You might feel, as a believer, there are so many sins that I still struggle with. I am rough around so many edges. I am a hard, difficult person, and God has so much work to do in me, and I feel a little foolishness clothed in the righteousness of Christ, because it doesn't fit. Just as kids will eventually grow into the clothes that are too big for them right now, God, by his grace, by this power of his Holy Spirit, has made us alive and will grow us into the righteousness that he has already clothed us with. So that it may not be over a season, but over a lifetime, we'll begin to grow up into our baggy righteousness clothes. We'll be looking more and more like our elder brother Jesus and the cloak that he has put over us. God gives power to make real change in our lives so that we grow up into the righteousness that he has credited to our account.